Hey guys, thank you for tuning into my channel. We're getting ready for week 13 for NFL predictions and touchdown parlays. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you're blessed this weekend and hopefully we could get some money this weekend as well, right? It's been a strange season, unpredictability, teams that should win are losing, a lot of upsets going on, a lot of strange things happening around the NFL world. It could be a Vegas thing. It could be just because of the fact that a lot of money rolls to the favorites, they end up losing. Or the over and unders play out funny, right? We all saw that Cleveland Raiders game towards the end. We also saw how the Cowboys came back from 21 down and beat the Super Bowl champion Eagles, right? Money plays into it, Vegas plays into it. So a lot of sports bettors are getting beat, amateurs as well as professionals. Anyway, without any further ado, we want to get going. But you got to hit that like and subscribe button for me and leave your comments below. It's very important that I stay right in front of your face, up close and personal throughout the season, playoffs, and a Super Bowl. And I know that it's been a bad, crazy season. I know people are trying to put the right parlays together and still end up losing. Just last night in the 49ers and Panthers game, I put up a good parlay together, right? And I was pretty much hitting the numbers with the 49ers players. And then for some reason, right, guys like Rico Dowdle, who I put down to score a touchdown. I got the touchdown from Christian McCaffrey. Had a 25 leg parlay, right? But it wasn't going to pay much. I kept it simple. It was going to pay something like 180 bucks. All I needed was Rico Dowdle to get in the end zone for the Panthers. And as it turns out, he never got in the end zone. A guy that usually gets in the end zone week in and week out, the short thin, never got in the end zone, and I lost that parlay. And it was only on a $1. No, it was on a $2.50 bet that would have paid 180 bucks. All I needed was Rico Dowdle. I hit every other number, okay, from both teams. I kept it. I didn't even pick the predictor of the game, who was going to win. I just kept that 25 leg parlay simple. I was betting small to hit 180 bucks. I just needed one thing to hit Rico Dowdle, get in the end zone. It just never happened. And that's the way the season's been going so far for not just me, but for my viewers too, because I'm here giving you this edge for free and telling you what teams to pick and what touchdown parlays to put together. So let's get going. Let's start week 13 with Thanksgiving night. Okay, Thanksgiving Day, I should say. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you guys are all blessed and have a wonderful weekend. All right, so let's start off with the three games on the slate. The first game up is going to be the Green Bay Packers at Detroit. We're going to money line the Detroit Lions. Okay, they came off an overtime victory over the Giants. Guys, again, I don't know what Vegas is doing. I feel like in that game alone, really bothered and ruined one of my money line parlays. And it bothered me because they didn't cover the spread that I was expecting, right? So here it is. They play a game in which Jameis Williamson, either he was injured before the game we didn't know about, or they just didn't make him part of the game. That game should have never been close. Okay, should have never been close. You had a coach that had got fired from the Giants. They were missing Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo as well as Jackson Dart. I'm not saying that Jameis Winston is a bad quarterback, but that game should have never been close. So a lot of sports bettors really took a bad beat on the spread on that one. Okay, we're going to money line the Lions, right? Even though they're playing a tough Green Bay game, Green Bay Packers team, it's going to be a good game, by the way. It's going to be really to open Thanksgiving Day. It's going to be a solid game to watch. We're going to take the over of 49 and a half. Okay, 49 and a half. I think both teams are going to, it might start off sluggish, but at some point, Green Bay's offense, which has been struggling, is going to have to get going. I know they're missing Tucker Kraft, okay, and Josh Jacobs didn't play last week. If he comes back and plays, they might go to the rain game, and this is why the over and under is kind of shady for me. I think all the money's going to roll for the under. This is why I'm taking the over. The spread's going to be minus 2.5. Yes, that spread is safe to take. I do expect the Lions to win this game by 4, even a touchdown. I just think they have too many weapons. I think they struggled against the Giants when they didn't have to. And I think the Lions are going to set themselves back into that mode of, hey, let's let's start scoring points and let teams try to catch up to us. So take the Lions on that one. Let's go to that second game, right? And this is a must win for both teams. You got the Kansas City Chiefs heading to the Dallas Cowboys. I mentioned before how the Cowboys came back, beat the defending champs after being down 21 zip. I really believe if either of these teams, if the Chiefs win, they got an outside chance getting in the playoffs. Right now, they're sitting on the outside looking in. But if the Chiefs win, they're going to be a dangerous team. I always said it. You don't want this team in the playoffs. They are going to win games in the playoffs. I'm telling you right now. Look what they did to the Colts last week. They were down. I believe it was. I think they were down as much as 20-9 heading into that fourth quarter. Came back and won in overtime. Okay, just tells you what this team is about. I'm going to take the over 51 and a half. I have money line the Chiefs, and I'm taking the over 51 and a half. Okay. Now, that -3, yeah, I believe that the Chiefs could win this game by at least 4, maybe a touchdown, just like the Lions will against the Packers. I'm feeling confident. I just feel that the Cowboys defense, even though it's starting to come around and it came around at the right time last week, I just I just think that for them to beat the Chiefs this weekend on Thanksgiving, they're going to have to score points immediately. They're going to have to get up on the Chiefs, and they could. They have a powerful offense. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams, Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott. These guys are rolling. I always said throughout the year, and if you watch any of my videos, that Dallas offense is dangerous. And they're sitting at 5-1, sitting on the outside looking in. But if that defense puts it together the way they've been doing the past couple of weeks, I have a feeling that if they get up on the Chiefs early in this game, they'll win this game. And I believe with the addition of Logan Wilson, Quinnen Williams, this defense is getting better. And I think that if they win this game, they give themselves a great chance of getting into that playoffs. But I'm a money line the Chiefs. I'm going to take the over 51 and a half, and I'm going to take that spread of -3. It's. I think it's the best game on Thanksgiving. Honestly, I think everyone's going to be tuned in for that game. I think it's going to be one of those games where points are going to be back and forth. Vegas is trying to trip you up again. I think all the money's going to roll on the over, and it might end up on the under because both these defenses it could be one of those 24-21 type of games, okay? It could also be one of those 27-23 types of games, okay? But me personally, I'm going to take the over because I think people are going to throw money into that under, okay? And I think they want to go opposite what Vegas does. And I think that's the way you have to think now. You got to think Vegas and how they're setting up these money lines, these over and unders, and these spreads, and where the money is rolling. You have to pay attention to that. Let's move on. Final game on Thanksgiving has the Bengals with Joe Burrow back, traveling to the Ravens. Ravens are now in first place because the Steelers have been falling apart. After a 1-5 start, here are the Ravens sitting at 6-5 with an opportunity to get to 7-5, which they will. I'm a money line them. I'm gonna take the under 51 and a half. Even though Jamar Chase is coming back, they always give the Ravens a tough time. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow being back his first game. Don't know how well he can play after coming off a serious injury, but that's what they're saying that he's going to play. Me personally, as an organization, thinking I wouldn't start him at all. I would try to keep this guy out of the game. Yet, listen, the Bengals ain't going nowhere. That defense is just horrific, and this is why I'm money line the Ravens. I don't think the Ravens are doing that better either. 6-5, great, wonderful. You got back to first place, but that offense is struggling. Lamar Jackson must have some type of injury that he's still struggling with. I don't see enough of Derrick Henry. It's always the backup running backs like Keaton Mitchell, I believe is his name, and Justice Hill. When they get in, they seem to get the big splash plays. Wide receiving wise, you're not getting the production that you normally would get. Um, So I'm a +7 this game. I'm gonna give it a +7. I just think that the Ravens might struggle a bit. And listen, all the money's going to roll on the Ravens. This could be upset special. This could be a game, and the Bengals always give the Ravens a hard time. This could be a game where the Bengals come in and pull a major upset. I'm just saying, just you have to think Vegas first, right? I'm trying to trust my eyes. My gut is always going to tell me Ravens are the better team, but you just never know. It's been that type of season, right? All right. And now we're going to go to Black Friday. And we have the Chicago Bears pulled out a tremendous victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They played with a bunch of practice squad players. They were missing, I think, 6 defensive players at one point. I mean, their inside linebacking unit, they're down to their practice squad players. The secondary is makeshift. Yet they pulled out a great victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're coming in 8-3. They're the surprise team in that NFC so far this year, other than the Panthers, who are, looked like they were going to make some noise until last night. But here are the Chicago Bears. I think they're going to finally hit reality. The Bears have been getting away with a lot of last second victories. Um, didn't like the last sequence of plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers in that game because I felt like they could have tied the game if they would have trotted out their field goal kicker. But anyway, they got the victory. They're 8-3. Congratulations! But now you're going to meet the defending champs. They're coming off a horrible loss in which they were up 21-0. But I feel not only am I going to money line the Eagles, I also feel that they're going to beat them soundly. I'm taking that -7. I also think to go under that 44.5, I think the Eagles defense will probably hold the Bears to maybe 20, 23 points. Um, Maybe less than that. Could be they could hold them for 17. This is going to be a tough test for Caleb Williams. I could have gone with the over, but I chose the under. I think it could be safe to go over. But I just don't see the Bears beating the Eagles. I really don't. Not after that bad loss that they took the Eagles. I think they rebound. So let me show you the whiteboard, and you guys make your own decision. Before I show the whiteboard, let me just say, for Thanksgiving and Black Friday, the touchdown props for the Lions should always be the main characters, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Stay away from Jameson Williams. Um, he was a no-show in that Giants game, so stay away from that guy. Brock Wright might surprise. He'll be on the plus side, and he's worth a lot of money. On the Packers side, you can stay safe with probably Emmanuel Wilson if he starts. If it's Josh Jacobs, maybe go Josh or Emmanuel Wilson. I don't know who to pick on the receiver side of Green Bay if I wanted to play safe. Seems like Christian Watson is waking up. Okay, but I think it's going to be a running game for Green Bay. So that would be my touchdown props for that first game. The second game with the Chiefs, again, just like the Detroit Lions, you have Kareem Hunt, you have Xavier Worthy, you have Rashee Rice, you got Travis Kelsey, you got a plethora of guys that you could pick from to get in that end zone. I think Patrick Mahomes will be good for 2 touchdowns as well. And the Cowboys got weapons. Pickens, Lamb, Ferguson, Javonte Williams. They got Dak. And so this game's, in my opinion, should be a high-scoring game. I don't know if it's going to play out that way, but those are touchdown props for that game. Let's go to the Ravens touchdown props, okay? This is a tough one because in a game like this, you want a surprise, right? For the Bengals, your touchdown props are always the obvious, right? Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. And then when you look at the Ravens, they're struggling on offense. So they get the touchdowns every once in a while by surprising the opponent, like Charlie Kolar. He's worth a lot of money. He'll be on the plus side. You might get a Mark Andrews touchdown. You might even get an Isaiah Likely touchdown. The Derrick Henry touchdowns, okay, he had, he got it with the Jets, but that's the Jets. He should be able to get in the end zone. He's obvious, but they've been struggling on offense. So I'm not going to get it from the wide receivers, even though I think Devontae Walker is big on the plus side, worth a lot of money. But anyway, that's where I stand with the Ravens and their offense. Let's go to the Black Friday touchdown parlay. Maybe Saquon Barkley, right? He's been struggling this year. Maybe this is the game he finally breaks out. It's a weak Bears defense. They're really missing a lot of pieces. Um, AJ Brown got in the end zone this past weekend, played a lot better. Maybe Devontae Smith can get in the end zone, but look for Dallas Goedert. I think that's going to be the main guy this weekend. If that tight end get Dallas Goedert, okay, maybe Tank Bigsby. He'll be on the high plus side for a touchdown. And then you have the for the Bears, you're gonna have Roman Oduse, okay. You're gonna have Luther Burden. You're gonna have Colston Loveland, okay. I love their running backs in DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monaghay, right? If that's his name, if I pronounced this right, no disrespect. I think they're going to have to rely on that running game this weekend. So that Black Friday game, those are your touchdown props. So let me pause this and show you my whiteboard. Okay, so you saw my whiteboard for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Let's move on to the next slate of games this weekend. We'll start off with those 1 p.m.s. And guys, this is going to be a tough weekend because I believe that the playoff stretch is going to begin. Right now, teams are going to feel a little bit tighter, a little bit tense. Maybe it's going to separate the pretenders from the contenders. So let's get going. Hold on 1 second while I update that whiteboard. Okay, guys, the first game up that we're going to do here, we're going to do the Rams at the Carolina Panthers. Guys, Panthers, they have a lot of injuries. It showed up this weekend against the 49ers, right? It looked like they were going to steal victory from the 49ers in the beginning. They had all these turnovers. They just couldn't convert them. And guess what? This offense cannot keep up with the Rams offense. Although I'll say this, we've seen some games where the Panthers will surprise you. I think this is upset alert for bettors out there. You guys better be careful. Even though I didn't mark it down as a tough bet, I am going to money line the Rams because they are a much better team. Come on, look at all the weapons. Stafford, right? You got Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, a plethora of tight ends with Kobe Parkinson, right? Terrence Ferguson, right? You got Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. Those are guys that you would use for your touchdown props, right? Then you look at the Panthers, and what do they have? Rico Dowdle, who let me down this past Monday by not getting in the end zone, or was it the coaching staff? Chuba Hubbard, right? Chuba Hubbard is waking up. You could use those guys as touchdown props because I believe that's where they're going to get them from. The Rams secondary is going to be kind of tough. If you want to take Ted McMillan or you want to take Xavier Leggett, go right ahead. I wouldn't suggest taking any Panthers right now. I think it's a struggling offense. You saw it on Monday night. You saw that they couldn't get it going. Um, I'm money line the Rams. I'm doing the over of 46.5. I think most of the points will come from the Rams. I'm looking at a 38-10 type of win for the Rams. Yet again, the spread, I think I'm gonna place it at plus 10.5. Why? Because it's one of those games where I just feel that the defense for the Panthers is good enough to to keep the Panthers in the game. That 10.5 is kind of a bait, right, for Vegas to put out there. I think a lot of money's going to roll on both sides, plus as well as the minus, right, the minus 10.5 and the plus. I'm going with the plus 10.5. I think the over and under is a little confusing too, right, because the Rams can score. They can score points. Matthew Stafford right now is playing at an MVP level. I just don't see the Panthers having a chance in this game. But yet again, guys, what does Vegas does, right? All the money can roll on one team, and it goes the opposite. So be careful with this game. This could be one of those upset alert games, especially after that big blowout of the Buccaneers that the Rams did, right? I mean, they just blew them up. Speaking of the Buccaneers, let's go to that next game, okay? We now have, let me see, I believe they're playing the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, you got the Arizona Cardinals heading to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yet again, I'm going to put this game in the same category as the Rams and Panthers. I'm money lining the Buccaneers. I'm taking the over of 44.5. I'm also taking that spread of -3. It's at home. And I just don't see the Cardinals winning this game. Although I'll say this, Jacoby Brissett plays outstanding. He really does. I mean, he keeps you in games. Every now and then he'll make a mistake, but he keeps you in games. I mean, this guy has been nothing but an upgrade at the position as far as passing. Although Kyler Murray gives you the mobility, I don't know what's going on with that situation. Don't know. I don't even know if Kyle Murray's going to start this game. He's been kind of healthy these past couple of weeks. I just think that maybe the coaching staff has had enough, and they see what they see in Brissett. Um, he's good for maybe a touchdown in this game. Trey McBride, you could take as a touchdown parlay. Um, Jesus. I think I'm going to stick with those two for the Cardinals as far as touchdown parlays. For the Buccaneers, don't know if Bucky Irving's coming back. I might take Sean Tucker. Okay, although he didn't do much in that Rams game, I think Sean Tucker had that monster game 2 weeks ago. Can he do it again? Don't know. It depends on who they're going to use this weekend. Rashad White, is he going to be the main guy, or Sean Tucker? So I would stay away from maybe the running back parlay of touchdown parlay of that. But I think I'm going to probably stick with the wide receivers. Emeka Ibuka is turning out to be a fantastic player. They got Chris Godwin back. Look for Chris Godwin probably to get in the end zone, right? Tez Johnson, Cam Johnston, maybe Cade Otton. Okay, but I would stick with Ibuka. Okay, and maybe by miracle, Chris Godwin, they do him solid, get him in the end zone. Okay, let's go to that next game. We got now. This is wow. You know what bothers me about this game? You just don't know what you're going to get out of Trevor Lawrence. So we got the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to the Tennessee Titans, okay? And the Tennessee Titans, they're the type of team that you already know what you're going to get on offense. Practically nothing. I mean, I wouldn't touch any guy for a touchdown parlay in this game. I really wouldn't. For the Jaguars, if they stick to the running game, you could get Trevor Etienne, okay? I don't know if Bashal Tutin is available. Okay, as far as wide receivers, Jacoby Myers, okay, and maybe Parker Washington. I really like his production. So that would be my touchdown props. But for the Titans, don't touchdown anybody on that touchdown parlay. Defensively, Jaguars are good. So are the Titans. This is going to be a game where if you're going to be that team, Jacksonville, then Trevor Lawrence is going to have to step up. I'm sorry, but I put him in the same category as Bryce Young. I put him in the same category as Tua. Just the unpredictability of he hasn't even taken the step forward. He's got a playoff caliber team, and yet he throws these weird ass interceptions. So even though I'm going to moneyline the Jaguars, they should win, and all the money's going to roll to the Jaguars. This is upset city too. The over and under 41.5. I'm gonna go with the over of 41.5. I think Cam Ward and the Titans can find a way. I don't know how they're gonna score. I do know they'll be in the end zone at some point. I just don't know how many points they'll get. Maybe 14, maybe 17. I don't know. Maybe the special teams unit, a defensive touchdown. I just don't know. What I do know is I'm gonna take the over. I think most of the points come from the Jaguars, but I'm gonna stick with that plus 6.5. I just think Titans will stay in this game. Okay, let's move on. We now got the Saints at the Miami Dolphins. New Orleans Saints traveling to the Miami Dolphins, guys. I mean, if I had to pick a team which had a playoff chance, would be Miami. But again, I put Tua in the Trevor Lawrence and Bryce Young conversations. The guy's inconsistent at the position. Let me put it to you this way. I also see upset alert here. And the reason I say that is because I just think that Miami, even though I'm moneylining the Miami Dolphins, even though they're coming off, I think, two victories in a row, I think 3, I'm not sure. I do know they won the last 2 weekends. I might be wrong. I'm going to take the over of 42.5. I think a lot of points will come from Miami. I'm also going to take that plus 5.5. I think the Saints defense is going to keep them in the game. and also the inconsistency of Tua is going to keep the Saints in this game. Okay, so we're going to money line the Dolphins. We're going to take the over of 42.5, and we're going to take that plus 5.5. Touchdown parlays, look for Chris Olaf, Jawan Johnson, Alvin Kamara. I haven't heard of him all year getting in the end zone. Maybe those guys. For Miami, it's the same group of guys. Jalen Waddle, Devon A. Chain, um, Malik Washington, maybe. Ollie Gordon is starting to play better. Those would be my touchdown props. But again, it's one of those games where it all depends on a quarterback play. Either Tyler Shuck or Tua. Whoever plays better is going to win this game. I wish I could say with confidence Miami will, but again, I'm not trusting Tua, although they are playing better. They're I believe 4-7 right now, correct? Which means, even though they're on the outside looking in, if they run off a couple of more victories, they might put themselves in a good position. I always said it, Miami was a 9-win team. It all depends on their quarterback play. Right now, they're sitting at 4-7. Maybe they make a run. I don't know. This could be the beginning of a run. Let's go to the next game. We got the San Francisco 49ers at the Cleveland Browns. We all saw what happened to Green Bay when they went to Cleveland, right? Shedeur Sanders is coming off in his first career start a victory over the shitty-ass Raiders, okay? Really a disappointing team altogether, the Raiders. But the fact that Shedeur finally got the practice time with the first unit, came out and beat the Raiders is an excellent sign for the organization. You do have to find out what you have in him. Can he do it again against a tough San Francisco team? I don't think so. I think they'll keep the game close. That's why I'm going with the plus 6.5. But I think Robert Saleh and that 49ers defense are going to find ways to mix it up and bring Shedeur Sanders back down to earth a little bit. So we're going to money line the 49ers. We're going to take the under 40.5. Again, all the money's going to roll on that, on the under. And they might trip you up with a lot of points in this weekend's game. Who knows, right? I'm just telling you that that's the way Vegas operates. That's why professional sports bettors and amateur sports bettors like me are struggling. And that's why this edge that I give you for free is looking comical every weekend. Seriously, it's making me look bad and everybody else look like shit. But I'm taking that plus 6.5. I just think that there's just too much. The 49ers are too much of a talented team. I don't think they're going to make the mistake that Green Bay made early in the season when they lost to the Cleveland Browns. Browns defense, watch for Myles Garrett. He's a monster, possible defensive MVP. But the 49ers should be able to win this game. Let's go to that next game. We got the Atlanta Falcons at the Jets. Just a disappointing Falcons team playing yet another disappointing season for the Jets. Money line of Falcons, take the under of 39.5. I don't think there'll be plenty of points. I think the Falcons are constantly struggling every week, week in and week out, which they should because they have talent on that offensive side. Just give the ball to Bijan Robinson. Is that so hard to ask? Give him the ball at least 40 times a game. You'd probably be sitting at 8-3. Seriously, they've been losing games that it's mind-boggling. Michael Penix, just I don't know. I mean, you're back to Kirk Cousins, and even I can't say anything good about him. The only thing I could say is they have a veteran now at the position. Can they save their season? I don't know. But for this game, they're gonna beat the Jets, okay? Now, is it gonna be an easy victory? No, I don't think so. I think the minus 2.5 is just about right. Take money line of Falcons, take the under of 39.5. I don't see too many points. And take that minus 2.5. Touchdowns. When is Kyle Pitts ever going to get in the end zone? And if Bijan Robinson gets the ball about 40 times, you should put him as a touchdown parlay. That's the only guy I'm going to trust. Penix and Drake London has something good going together. I believe London was injured on the last one. If he plays, he would be good. Darnell Mooney, okay. Tyler Algier, obviously. That's the guy usually they call him the closer for a reason. So I think he's probably the best touchdown prop you can get. As far as the Jets, listen, it's just Breece Hall. That's it. And the Jets still haven't learned how to use that guy. I always said This is a game, by the way, this is a game between two teams that don't know how to use their running backs. But John Robinson is a beast, is a beast. Put him on a team that needs a running back and on a playoff contender, and he will make a difference. The same can be said about Brees Hall of the Jets. I don't know what the Jets are doing, playing musical chairs at running back. I mean, if your quarterback situation sucks, you got to give this guy the ball 40 times a game. I mean, that's your O.J. Simpson there, right? Sorry to use that name, but the truth is, that's what the Bills did in the 70s. That's what bad teams do when they don't have a plethora of talent. They will use the one guy. Brees Hall is that guy. And hey, that's a coaching decision, right? That's why they're at where they're at. Let's move on. And now the game that I really, really had a hard time trying to figure out if I should do what I'm about to do. The Houston Texans at 6-5 are going to travel to the Colts. I believe the Colts are now 8-3. Colts are coming off a tough loss. They came down to earth. They realized, guys, at one point we were 7-1. We're now 8-3. And we played a bunch of teams that are about to be in the playoffs, and we can't beat them. We lost to the Steelers, and now we lost to the Chiefs. I'm not saying the Steelers are going to get in the playoffs, but it was a tough test. Now, they have some victories over the Broncos, okay? They have some victories over other teams that are in contention, but they ran into a wall with the Chiefs. It's like their offense went non-existent. Like, you got to give Jonathan Taylor the ball, Colts. All right, that's my touchdown prop for this weekend, if he gets it. Because that defense that they're going to play this weekend, the Houston Texans, they're 6-5 for a reason. And Davis Mills has played well enough to keep them in contention. That's why they ran off, I believe, 3 straight victories. I'm going to pull the upset here. I'm going to take the underdog Texans. I'm going to money line it. I'm going to take the over and under. I'll keep it. You know what? You'd be better off maybe taking the over 44.5. I'll give you the reason for it. Because Vegas wants you to take the under, right? They figure the Texans are that tough defense. They want all that money to roll on the under, which might happen. That's why I'm taking the over. I'm going to take the plus 4.5. Whether they win or lose, that spread's going to be plus 4.5. I just think they're going to hang around. Here's the problem I have with the touchdown parlays for the Texans. It's only Nico Collins and Woody Marks, maybe Nick Chubb. With Davis Mills playing, he was able to get the ball to a lot of guys in the end zone, right? Dalton Schultz, Chubb, Nico, Woody Marks, Higgins, right? Jaden Higgins, I believe is his name. If not Jaden Higgins, Xavier Hutchinson. He finds ways. When C.J. Stroud plays, it's a different playbook. The mentality's different. I just feel like C.J. gets stuck on Nico a lot. And that's why you see overthrows, underthrows, sometimes interceptions. This is going to be upset city. I think the Texans will travel well with their defense and upset the Indianapolis Colts at Indianapolis. You heard that first here. Colts have Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce. But Daniel Jones is starting to come back to earth a little bit. In these past 3 weeks, I have not seen the same Daniel Jones that I've seen. He's struggling now. What does that mean, Colts? Got to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Or keep it simple. Dump off to Tyler Warren or something. But you got to mix it up. I just think the Texans, Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, this is going to be a problem this weekend. All right, guys. I'm going to pause this for a second. Got to update the board for the next few games. Okay, guys, I'm almost finished with the whiteboard, but I'll show it to you as soon as I tell you exactly who I'm going to be rolling with. Guys, just a reminder, Vegas, this year has been a strange year. It really has been. Anybody who's a serious bettor or an amateur bettor like me, or is a struggling gambler, my suggestion would be if you're struggling with gambling, just don't gamble. Don't gamble with money you cannot lose, okay? Just stay away from all of this. Okay, I know it's hard. I struggled with it, right? But the bottom line is, man, this season, a lot of people are losing money that they should be winning. Seriously, they're losing money they should be winning. Yeah, and I just think that it's wrong. I think that I just think that there are times where people are putting their trust in a game that they should win, and Vegas trips them up, and it's almost like it's rigged, right? It's almost like all of this is rigged, and with the NBA scandal and stuff like that going on, you get the feeling that everything's not all right in the sports world and gambling, and that is the truth. So we'll speak a little bit more about this. Let me put this up, and let's go game by game. Guys, might have made a mistake, and I didn't post up the whiteboard from the previous predictions. I'm gonna take care of you guys, and I'm gonna post it up. Okay, so don't worry about it. I'm gonna repost it. Okay, first let me get to these games, and then I'll repost not just these games after I'm finished and done, but the other games as well. I think I made a mistake there. I believe I posted up the first games, right? The Thanksgiving and Black Friday, but did not get to post up the other games. Okay, so let me get to those, and I'll show it to you after I predict what's going to happen in these upcoming games. So let's get to it. All right. All right, guys. Well, I believe we're up to the Seahawks. Okay. We got now, and let me just make sure because I got to look at these notes and making sure that I got this right. All right, guys. We got the Seahawks. Okay, we got the Minnesota Vikings heading to the Seattle Seahawks. Yet this is another game that could be upset city, right? Everything indicates that the Seahawks are going to win. That's why I money lined them. I also took the over and under of over 41 and a half. I also did the spread of plus 10 and a half. Okay, I did that spread. Okay, so here's the whole thing about it. Here's the whole thing. This is a game in which, again, Sam Darnold's going to have to play good football against this Brian Flores defense. All right, this Brian Flores defense of the Vikings, it's a good defense. Unfortunately, it does not match the inconsistency of their offense. Okay, Kevin O'Connell is, this is a game where he looks at and he looks across and he goes, "Why do we let that guy go? Why do we let Sam Darnold go?" He went with youth. He went with a guy who's a good quarterback. All right, he's not a bad quarterback. I just think that he's over anxiously playing, and that's why you're seeing bad performance happening at that position. Too much talent on offense to play like that, right? So we're going to money line the Seahawks. We're going to take the over and under 41 and a half. We're going to take the over, and we're going to take that plus 10 and a half on the spread. Touchdown parlays will probably come from Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, maybe Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, right? Maybe Jordan Mason. For the Seahawks, Jackson Najigba Smith or Smith Najigba. I always get that guy's name confused, and I'm so sorry. No, don't mean no disrespect, but he's probably the best wide receiver in the NFL at the moment, other than George Pickens. And Emeka Ibuka, don't forget him. You got Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed. You got AJ Barner. You got the two running backs of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Just too much talent on that side. I just feel like the Seahawks will win this game. I just think that struggling Minnesota offense is the reason why they're at where they're at. But it's upset alert because let's face it, guys, that's what Vegas does, right? You know you're going to put your money on the Seahawks, right? You know in your mind you're saying this is just too talented of a football team, and Sam Darnold's going to try to show up the Minnesota front office for letting him go. And then Kevin O'Connell's going to be thinking that way too, right? He's going to say, hey, you know what? I got to show Minnesota's front office that we made a good move with JJ. Could this be the breakout game for McCarthy, right? Tough defense, right? Seattle, probably one of the best defenses in the league. And who knows? But be careful with this game. And the next game, be careful too. We have the Buffalo Bills traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are coming off a difficult disappointing loss to the Bears. Their offense is limited, really, outside of DK Metcalf. I mean, George Pickens right now has the same amount of yardage than a whole Pittsburgh receiving unit. So it's embarrassing. So don't know if Aaron's going to play. Even if it's Aaron or Mason, don't see the Steelers putting much or hanging in there with the Buffalo Bills offense. But I am going to take that plus 4.5. I am going to money line the Buffalo Bills. I just think they got to get off the schneid. I mean, losing to the Texans, and I think the week before they had beaten the Buccaneers soundly, but then they just fell flat against Texans. I think against the Steelers defense, they just have weapons. James Cook is probably gonna run circles like he's gonna get in the end zone and then come out of the end zone and run back in the end zone just to show that the Steelers can't tackle and play run defense. So money line the Bills, take the over and under of 47.5. I think the Steelers are going to try to make this a track meet, and it's not going to work out well. I just don't see the Steelers winning this game. But again, what does Mike Tomlin do? Pulls a rabbit out of the hat. He did it against the Patriots. He did it against the Colts. Okay, so you can't put it past him, all right? So anyway, touchdown props, maybe Jaylen Warren. If maybe Pat Fryermuth, DK maybe, right? Because the secondary of the Bills is shaky as well. It's not like they're playing great defense, all right? They let the Houston Texans with a backup quarterback put points up there. Okay, then you got the Buffalo Bills, right? James Cook, I'm going to take him as a touchdown prop. You got, the tight ends, Knox. I don't know if Kincaid's going to come back. Don't know yet. But if they do, you got to take Kincaid, right? The wide receiving unit, bunch of players. Josh Palmer. I can't trust Keon Coleman. Shakir, maybe, right? That new guy, Terrell Shavers, looks promising, but I will stick with James Cook on this. I don't think the Steelers win this game either. So let's move on to the next one. Let's go to the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, so we got now the Las Vegas Raiders at the Chargers, guys. It's a no-brainer. Moneyline the Chargers. Take the under 41.5. I think both teams are struggling on offense, especially the Chargers with that offensive line being depleted. And it's just about Justin Herbert throwing the ball around, which is kind of scary because I'm going to take that plus 8.5 that the Raiders are going to hang in there. If you're going to pass the ball a lot and both your offensive tackles are out and you got injuries, guess who's going to kill you? Max Crosby. Probably another guy that I put in the same category as Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. Just a phenomenal player on one of the shittiest teams ever. Really disappointed with the Raiders season. My preseason prediction, I saw 7 wins, 8 wins. I don't think they even get there. I don't even think they get to 5 wins. Touchdown props, maybe you get Ashton Gianti, maybe Brock Bowers, Mike Meyer. For the Chargers, pick any receiver. If Oronde Gadsden comes back, that'd be great. Maybe Vidal, running back. Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, Labaconke. Right, those would be my touchdown props. Moneyline the Chargers, take the under of 41.5 and take the plus 8.5 for the Raiders, all right, in the spread column. But let's move on. All right, we got the Denver Broncos at the Washington Commanders. I believe that's the Sunday night game. I'm going to take the plus 6.5 for the Commanders, despite the fact that Jaden Daniels is not there and Marcus Mariota is the guy. I think having a mobile quarterback would be a good thing against this defense because they love to scheme and push upfield. Fantastic defense, one of the best in the league. It's going to be a struggle. And I think Vegas putting out that over 43.5 was to trip you up. They know all the money's going to roll on the unders. So they put that 43.5 to be over. Guess what, guys? I'm going to take the over of 43.5. I think that you're not going to fool me. Fool me once, fool me twice. Guys, come on. I think we're going to have to take the over. I think this will be somewhere up there. Inconsistency from Bo Nix. I do see him throwing a touchdown here. I like my running backs in R.J. Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin. The receivers, obviously, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Cortland Sutton. Um, those will be touchdown props. Okay. For the Commanders, Ja'Cory Merritt, when are you going to get in the end zone? What is the purpose of, I know he's a rookie, but what is the purpose of gaining all these yards and you're not getting in the end zone? I just don't. It's either Jeremy McNichols or Rodriguez, right? Those guys seem to get in the end zone before him. But if I had to pick a good touchdown prop, it's Zach Ertz, Debo Samuel, right? I don't know if Terry McLaurin is ever going to get back. Money line the Broncos, take the over 43.5, take the plus 6.5. I think the game's going to stay tight, but I'm going to take the over 43.5. Let's move on to the final game, the New England Patriots, right? Money line the Patriots, take the over and under, take the under 46.5, and take the plus 7.5. Now, the under is debatable. I think Jameis Winston, okay, they're playing the Giants, by the way. It's the Giants at the Patriots. Jameis Winston, he's going to come out firing. He's going to do everything he can to pull this upset. And he just might, right? In the history of the Giants and the Patriots, the Giants have the upper hand thanks to 2 Super Bowl victories against them. It just seems that the Giants organization, whenever they play the Patriots, they just have the upper hand. I think it's going to be different. I'm money line the Patriots. I'm taking the under 46.5, but I'm going to keep that spread plus 7.5, just like last week. The way they play the Detroit Lions, I think they're going to come out and play the Patriots the same way. And let me tell you something. If they get up on the Patriots, that defense is going to unload with Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Thibodeau on the outside. Okay, now, here's the thing. Abdul Carter, another name. Here's the thing. They fired a defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen. Okay? So I don't know how this defense is going to play out rolling into New England. That's why I'm taking the New England Patriots. Touchdown props, maybe a Drake May touchdown, like he rolls out or does a tush push. I like Hunter Henry to get in the end zone. I like this is one of those games where guys like what's that kid's name? Trevion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson are going to get going. All right. I don't think you're going to see that many points, but you could. They're both capable of, especially with Jameis Winston, right? Wan'Dale Robinson, what a monster game at Detroit. You got Bellinger, Theo Johnson, Darius Slayton, all right, Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy. So you got touchdown props you can get from those guys. You got to be smart to pick which touchdown props you want to go with. I think Jameis Winston is good for 2 touchdowns in this game. I just think he's going to air it out, keep the Giants close, just like he did at Detroit. But I just think it'll be. I just think that the New England Patriots, they know what's at stake. I think Mike Vrabel will keep them focused and not to fall asleep against the Giants. And I think the Patriots come out victorious. So that pretty much wraps that up. Now I'm going to show you the whiteboard for those games. And then I got to redo the whiteboard to show you the other games that I think I didn't show you, okay? So let me pause and I'll show you this. Okay, guys, I showed you that whiteboard. I might have to show you the other games that I spoke about and show you that whiteboard. I wasn't sure if I showed it to you, but let me do it now. All right, guys, I'm just making sure that I update this correctly because I believe I did not show these games to you. Just want to make sure that I put this in perspective here. Okay. So I believe I had those 49ers against the Cleveland Browns. I'm gonna put an asterisk on that game. Okay. So maybe not showing it to you the first time was a good thing. Now, if you're into those bad games like Saints at Dolphins, games that, you know, I could put an asterisk on that too. I think that's a tough beat. Anyway, let me show you this first because I still got 2 other games I got to show you. All right, guys, you saw the whiteboard get updated there real quick. Hopefully, you guys were able to catch what I posted up. But as I sit here, pretty much finished with my NFL predictions and touchdown parlays, I just want to talk a little bit about what we're doing as sports bettors out there. And it's a concern because there are a lot of people out there that feel that the NFL hasn't been as honest as we think they are. And I'm gonna say to you that those are facts. Okay, I say to you that because I enjoy the games like everybody else. I'm an amateur sports bettor like everybody else. So I'm not gonna claim myself to win 90%, 80%, 70%, 60. I'm at this rate that I'm going, and I have the stats to show it. Um, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, it's been a struggle, and yet when it comes to money lines, which is the easy one, I believe I'm over 118 wins for the season so far. Let me see what I put wrote down. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I wrote down, and I've been keeping up to date. So for the money lines, right? I got 127 wins, 166 losses, and one tie. Okay, that was that tie between the Cowboys and Eagles earlier. For my over and unders, okay, I got 89 wins and 96 losses. Right, so I'm taking a bloodbath on that. Then on my spreads, right, which is always so hard. That's the hardest in spreads, right? Because you just never know what's going to happen when you roll all the money on a team that you know is going to win and cover. And yet Vegas plays these games with sports bettors, right? Sometimes I feel like they pick up the phone and tell teams what to do and not to do. How many games have you gone to where you put a player prop like Jameson Williams last weekend and find out he didn't play? I didn't even get an update from anybody. I checked. And nobody said he was injured. Nobody said he got hurt before the game. He just wasn't part of the game plan. So against the spread, okay, I got a record of 90 wins, 85 losses, and three ties. That's where I stand, folks. And that's after 12 weeks of predictions and touchdown parlays. Now, with touchdown parlays, I'm actually doing a lot better than expected. However, I'm not putting them in the right touchdown parlays. So, if you get lucky and happen to pick like maybe 6 or 7 guys off my list, you're going to win some money because I have been winning money on that, but not big money. I mean, I think I told you in my previous video, I had a touchdown parlay that was going to pay about 800 and something $1,000. And I believe it's Amari DiMarcado, the running back from the Arizona Cardinals, that weekend where he flipped the ball before getting in the end zone. Had he gotten in the end zone, I win that parlay. And it was only 13 leg parlay at $1, which was amazing. And that's the way the season's been going so far. So touching on that note alone, guys, seriously, it's just been that type of year with sports betting. And you can ask any professional gambler out there and they'll tell you, yeah, it's been that type of year. The unpredictability, upsets that, I mean, whoever saw that Buffalo losing to the Miami Dolphins, let alone, right? I think early in the year, the Panthers shut out the Falcons or something like that. It's games like that that threw me off. You get the Steelers beat. Okay, let me put it to you this way. I believe it was the Colts blowing out the Chargers. Then the Steelers beat the pants off the Colts. Then the Chargers beat the pants off the Steelers. It's been that type of year. Then you had some weird stuff going on, like teams that could cover like an over and under, not doing it. I think we saw that in the Dallas game a couple of weeks ago. Okay, where I think the over and under was at 49 and a half, and they were sitting, I believe, at 49. Right, 33-16 was the final score there. It was the game before the Eagles game. And They could have kicked the field goal. They could have, right? Kicking a field goal, and whoever took the over, they win. Whoever took the under obviously won. But it's stuff like that. But anyway, it's been a strange year. I can't really. I always say I trust my eyes and I trust my gut. I give you an edge for free. I give you all the analytics, and I know that there's a lot of bettors out there that have done the same thing that I'm doing, and maybe they don't want to admit to it. There's a lot of fakeness going on too with these YouTubers posting up stuff. I gave you my stats for the year. You could look up at all. You could look up all my videos, and you're going to come up with the same numbers. Okay, so there's no bullshit there. Okay, so there's a lot of YouTube videos, people saying, pay me and I'll give you the right teams that'll win and this and that. Don't do that, guys. It's just not worth it. I mean, I send me the money if that's how you feel. I'm giving you that for free. I'm not asking for money. I'm giving you all of that for free. I'll put up my numbers against any professional bookie out there. Okay. And I guarantee you he's either the same as me or he's just having a bad year just like me. I admit to those things. I'm an amateur, but I'm gonna admit to those things. But I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is out there to put hard earned money into a bet. But I always tell you guys, what's my number one thing? Bet small or win big, right? You could turn a touchdown parlay of just $1, like I do, and make it into $500,000 if you pick the right plus sign players to go along with your minus players. What I mean by that, James Cook is always a player that's on a minus because these are guys that get in the end zone, like Jonathan Taylor. So when you look at those player props, they're going to be on a minus because they expect them to be in the end zone. But then when you take a player like, let's say, Devontae Walker from the Ravens, he's going to be on a plus side because he rarely gets in the game. And when he does, he's explosive. And if he gets in the end zone, he's what, a plus 1,700, which means you put $1 on that guy and you're winning a lot of money. That's how I do my parlays. I mix and match. And when you do player props, you got to be smart enough to know against what team they're going to play against, what type of defense they're going to play against, what's the weaknesses on that defense before putting up player props. But the season has been strange. Look at last night. I predicted that Christian McCaffrey would get in the end zone. He did. I also expected Rico Dowdle to get in the end zone because he's been the major force for the Panthers. He did run the ball a lot, not as much as I expected, but every time they got near the red zone, he was non-existent. So is it a Vegas thing? Is it a phone call to the locker room? Is this something going on? It's so evident this year. Now you have an NBA scandal. You got a baseball scandal, Shohei Ohtani, and then those two relief pitchers or pitchers from the Cleveland Guardians. I'm sure there's one in the NFL going on right now. We had one in the past with Isaiah Rodgers and Calvin Ridley. Sorry that I got to use their names, but they did what they did, and they got caught. I always said it. And there's many videos out there that talk about how rigged some of this stuff is with sports betting. Sports betting was actually a bad thing for sports to legalize it. That was a bad thing. But they legalized it, and you got to live with it. However, the games are funny. And there was a guy that posted up a video saying how rigged the NFL is, and he shows like different stuff about games that the outcomes are not turning out to be easy outcomes that we expect. I mean, the NFL is the NFL. They live by that one motto on any given Sunday. I wonder why. And now they're doing it again, constantly saying on any given Sunday. It's a monopoly what the NFL is, right? You got betting commercials all over the place. Okay, you got stadiums being built. Instead of putting that money towards the community and helping the homeless and stuff like that, they want to build stadiums. And yet the community allows it. All that talking shit that people do about, oh, they're not helping the community. They're not pumping money into, just like Atlantic City doesn't pump money into their community, right? All that shit that they talk. And when it's there for them to do something positive and help people, they don't do it. They build stadiums. and the people allow them. Like they take a vote. These states take a vote of whether or not we should resurrect a new building for the football players. They don't do it for the homeless, but for some reason, the people that bitch don't bitch enough to veto it. And so the vote goes in. Yeah, let's build that new stadium. Let's see Josh Allen. Let's get the players that Josh Allen needs for free agency. That's the way shit's been going, guys. And the gambling world is hand in hand with what you're seeing on the NFL. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't enjoy the games, because I do. I love every football game. I grew up with it. I played it from high school to college football. I've done it. But I'm going to tell you right now, what's going on with the legalization of sports betting and the way they promote it, they got a hand in what's going on in the NFL, because these teams get a percentage of it. So, for example, a lot of people last week, or I'm just going to throw an example. Remember that Buffalo-Miami game? Did you really think Miami had a shot with Tua against the Buffalo Bills? No. That was the same week they traded their best defensive player, Jalen Phillips, right? I believe that's his name, to the Philadelphia Eagles. Miami did. And Buffalo comes into that game, right? They're the overall favorite. I believe the point spread was in the double digits. All the money rolled to them. And what happened? Miami Dolphins pulled the upset. And it's going to happen this weekend too. There'll be a game where we're going to say, oh my God, like, how did they lose? Could it be the Rams against the Panthers? Could it be that game? You're hearing it first from me. Could it be that game? Could it be Buffalo against the Steelers? Could it be the 49ers against the Browns? You look at the over and unders, and they're getting funny. They're getting funny. You look at the spreads aren't making sense. Double-digit spreads with teams that should win are now turning into plus spreads, where you got to pick the opponent that sucks, and they stay in the game. Giants at Detroit. Did you see that overtime coming? Can you explain to me why certain players are getting in the end zone and not the main players? Imagine paying a player $100 million, and the guy that comes up from the practice squad is the guy that gets in the end zone. I still think of Hunter Lepke, I believe is his name, from the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not saying he's not good enough, but why is he in the end zone? They also have another receiver that gets in the end zone, Jalen Tolbert or Flournoy. These guys are getting in the end zone. CeeDee Lamb can't seem to get in the end zone. Jake Ferguson every once in a while. It's just weird the way this is playing out. It's almost like they pick up the phone Vegas and says, listen, this game, we're going to lose millions and millions and millions of dollars. Can you do me a favor? Keep that game close between Detroit and the Giants. And maybe Dan Campbell's on the other end saying, all right, I'm not going to put Jameson Williams in the game plan. I know he's been one of our top receivers the past 4 weeks. We're going to shut him down today. Just saying. So, there's people out there that are putting up YouTube videos on how rigged the NFL is. And, me personally, I just think it's all sports. NBA, right? That recent NBA scandal. It's not a surprise. And don't be surprised. But, now the men in black are going to ring my doorbell, put the cuffs behind me, and they're going to work me over in the next 45 minutes. That's the way it is, guys, when you tell the truth, right? You're whistleblowing. And I just think that's what's going on. I could do all the analytics on my laptop. Look, I got my laptop here. See? All right? This is where I get all the information, okay, guys? So I'm not bullshitting you guys. All right? I sit here for hours and hours and hours trying to give you the best edge. And I can tell you there's a lot of people out there, sports gamblers, that aren't admitting to the fact that they're getting bombed. Now, you could be a guy, look, I don't get the viewers they get. So right off the bat, I got to tell you, I'm disappointed. All right, hit that like and subscribe button and leave your comments, okay? I need viewers. Maybe I need to fund the YouTube channel, which down the road, once I gather more money, I like to put myself up there to get the viewers, right? Because what I'm telling you guys is the truth, man. It really is. And I'm not trying to slight the NFL world. I'm not trying to slight the sport. I don't even, this is why my content should never reach the youth of America. The only youth of America I want to reach is the 21 and up. But for little kids, I don't want them hearing this stuff. That's why I always have that feature on my phone where it says, do you want this to reach like, the youth and stuff? And I always say no, only adults, especially when it comes to gambling and stuff. And I always tell you guys to stop that gambling stuff with money that you cannot lose. Play with money you don't have to worry about paying bills with. Bet small or win big. And if you're a different type of gambler, God bless. But not going to sit here and say that I'm winning all the time. I take some bloody losses like everybody else. And it's frustrating. And there are a lot of YouTubers out there posting up the same thing, saying how frustrating it is. All right. So, guys, I want to stop rambling on and hopefully you guys do better than me, or we both do better this weekend. It's week 13. We're going to see upsets. We're going to see over and unders play out the way they do, the spreads and all of that. I do the homework. I just hope we win and you guys win, especially you guys. Because if you're going to tune into my channel, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear the victories. Okay, I want to hear it. I want somebody to finally look at my video, really, and leave a comment that says, if I ever read it, I'll be the happiest man. That'll say something like, "Hey, Casino Pete, you were right. You were absolutely right. You were spot on your picks, man. I won tons of money." If I could hear that from somebody, that'll make my day. It'll make my year, because that means I got money for somebody. That means we did something right. All right, guys, enough rambling. I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. All right, a blessed Thanksgiving. All right, I want you guys to enjoy your games on Thanksgiving. Be careful on Black Friday. The traffic's going to be crazy. People act nuts during the holiday season. So for sports gambling, guys, make the right choices, make the right picks. Like I said, mix and match my touchdown parlays or whatever that I post up. Okay. They're not always guaranteed, but at least if you're in the same zip code as me, as far as what I'm predicting, then maybe you run with it and it works out for you guys. Anyway, good luck this weekend for week 13. And God bless everyone on Thanksgiving weekend. Let's go get it, guys. And hit that like and subscribe button for the 1000th time and leave your comments below. Much appreciated. I'm Casino Pete, and I'm out.